who in 2001, and it's at a time I was speaking to that brother, and when we were speaking, he said, yeah, I myself was a Hebrew Israelite. I was one of the students of I forget his Hebrew name, but it was Scribe, right? It was Scribe, you know, um, and he was the one that gave our camp at the time a shofar, and I think it was a menorah, you know, or it was just a shofar. I cannot remember, but he stopped teaching. Well, Karatazar, he himself stopped teaching, and basically, you know, say, yeah, my name is Karatazar, such and such, thing, whatever. But now he say he not into that, and now he was saying basically, he looking to dive into the maritime law. And I myself was looking to dive into the maritime law, but they had no time, or is it I forgetting, right? Or trying to get a proper book to where I could get the content so if I to know how to actually start to dive into that. Because knowing the maritime law is actually something that is very powerful. Maritime law, the law of the land, or no, the law of the sea, and whatever the case is actually a law that when you go into it govern basically all laws. And when you get to know certain words and phrases, it will be better for you. So he himself was saying, hey, well, he looking to dive into the maritime law. But then at the end of the day, when you think about it, when I saw him, as he basically had no mind towards Yahweh Shem Shai again, and basically he's like a piper out on the streets, you know, basically what we say like a homeless person. And I was, speaking to some brother at a point in time. I was showing him, I said, hey, this guy here, before we knew anything about being Hebrew Israelites, he was here with the first teacher that was here before Bakar, and he basically, hey, they used to be out there teaching also, but they stopped. And I said, look, this is why you mustn't turn your back on your about Shemer Shai. And as I said that, because I was just going to close off, because my phone getting a little trouble right about now because it cutting off. So I don't know if I could try to merge or just put up these videos in parts. All right. So Ecclesiastes 8:1. Right. It says, Ecclesiastes 8 and verse 1, it says, who is as the wise man and who knoweth the interpretation of a thing? Right? A man's wisdom maketh his face to shine, and the boldness of his face shall be changed. Right? So who is as the wise man? Right? A wise man is the man that keep the commandments of Yahweh Hashem El Shai. The scripture say in Job 28 verse 28, for this is wisdom. The fear of Yahweh Hashem El Shai is wisdom, right? And departing from evil is understanding. So who is as the wise man? Wise man is one that keep after the ways of Yahweh Hashem El Shai, that walk after Yahweh Shai and Mashiach, and don't detach himself, because Yahweh Shai say what he's divine, and ye are the branches. You understand? And who know the interpretation of a thing. Those who the Most High will reveal, just like he revealed to Joseph, he revealed to Daniel, and other prophets, whatever the cases, interpretations of dreams and visions. A man's wisdom make it his face to shine, and that brother, his face ain't shining again, right? Because as I say, he's basically like a piper or a homeless guy on the streets right about now. He wearing some ragged stuff. Now, who knows if the Most High punishing him, you know? Who knows? The Most High could do anything that he wants, all right? So we can't just say give up hope, right? Because the Lord have did it in the past, punishment, and then brought them back, So I'm not the Most High and sitting down in his seat to say, well, the Most High just done with somebody, all right? But right now, his face is dark, his countenance is dark, right? A man's wisdom maketh his face to shine, and the boldness of his face shall be changed. It says, I counsel thee to keep the king's commandment, and that in regard of the oath of the Most High, right? So when we out here on the highways and the byways, we counsel thee to keep the king's commandment, all right? That is Yahweh's commandment. Do what you need to do, you already, the Lord already wake you up to the truth and knowledge. It's not to go back into the world, right? It's not to do worldly shit, right? Fornication, adultery, whatever the cases, you know. Not trying to dive in certain high science so that you might seek to be more knowledgeable than whoever, right? Then basically you're becoming as certain as the kings of the earth who trying to be as God, right? You're becoming like Esau, Edom, who trying to be as God himself, right? In the aspect of if he became God, he will even wage war with God and overthrow God. And I was hearing some people was some guy he was actually talking about, we Satan get thrown for and Adam and Eve and all your Christians know it wasn't for be trying to become more like God and knowing good and evil like God and all your Christians that for you to become to heaven and all you have to come more than God. He said just asking that question. But you see the thing is people don't understand. As a person could try to become more like my father, right? If my father is somebody very intelligent, very skillful, or whatever the case is in certain things. But the thing is, we have to learn to be humble. The Most High said, I am the high and lofty one. All right, and I think I should try to do a video on that. I am the high and lofty one, but he dealeth with them the humble. So yes, you become as God, as even Yahushai has become as God, but would Yahushua look to overthrow God? Right? Because guess what? It's from everlasting to everlasting. And guess what? Lucifer, right? The one who they call Lucifer, Satan, never wage war against the Most High. Totally. People don't understand Revelation chapter 12. You know? People don't understand Revelation chapter 12 without war in heaven and Satan. That Satan that we're speaking about was not speaking about the spiritual entity Shatan, right? The spiritual entity Shatan, right, is the basically the opposition leader, as I would like to say, that sit up on the left hand. All right, battery, and so could always go into that some of the time, or the apostles of Great Millstone, you could always look into GMS fault or whatever the case is, or some other brother who would do a proper breakdown of that Revelation 12 to understand. All right, so it says so basically, as I was saying, we could become more like God in the aspect that God could see himself within us, but not in the sense of you have become God that you could wage a war against God, thinking yourself to be more powerful than the Most High then. You understand? It says, I counsel you to keep the king's commandment and that in regard of the oath. Be not hasty to go out of his sight, stand not in an evil thing, for he doeth whatsoever pleased him. You understand? Be not hasty to go out of the sight of Yahweh Hashem Yeshai, right? So you want to dive into certain books or the knowledge of reading the man and all these kind of things. It may be books that, yes, what? You could try to take a glimpse and see if you could read it, but is this the knowledge inside of it so overwhelming that it will corrupt your brain? Because guess what? Too much power could corrupt someone. Now, some of these things, as we say, could be true, but will you now, with certain knowledge, try to work dark magic? Will it is you try, if you look inside of the book and it's the truth with certain things, will you try to go and to dive into certain things, to perform certain acts that will actually jeopardize your salvation, right, towards the Most High, and His Son, So yeah, those seek out knowledge that is too high for thee, all right, and I basically it. All right. And with that, giving all praises honor and glory to Yahweh Hashem Yoshai. Double honors to the apostles of Great Millstone that surely do well. Salutation, teach and everyone at the Akim that pushes gospel out there in sincerity and in truth. Right, brother Lamad from Trinidad saying shalom to the Ufilek. Mawad la babal, mawad la babal, mawad la babal. It's almost home time. Kalakiam, we could see the prophecies. All right, once again, all praises honor and glory to Yahweh Hashem Yoshai for this word, for this truth, and his promises unto Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Shalom.